Oh my gosh, welcome to the Footy Museum and the Footy Museum podcast. My name is Justin Whitty, and I am a co-director here at the Footy Museum. And I am joined, coincidentally, by my fellow co-director, Maria Van Dykenlee. Maria, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, that's
Pleasure
so
to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh.
Today is a great day. It's sunny. The clouds are gone. Not a cloud in the sky. I'm lying.
Yeah,
There are
it's horrible. It's a horrible, wet, damp, dark.
I tracked in mud all over
If
your
you
rug.
live in the mid, every year this happens, it gets this cold and wet, and all the leaves die and fall off, and it looks like a wasteland. And I'm like, what are we doing? If this happened to anything else, like if everything just died and fell apart and became dark, you'd think there was something wrong.
There's a time to be born and a time to die.
Oh, that's so great.
And there's life in the decay.
And that reminds me of something else. Hell is real. And I'm not talking about the weather right now. I'm talking about the MLS Eastern Conference Soccer Championship. Championship between FC Cincinnati and Columbus Crew. It is a derby, even though the teams are 107 miles apart, but it's the U.S., baby. And in between those two cities is a billboard that says Hell is Real, which is the namesake of this competition. And Maria, let me ask you, was hell in fact real?
For Cincinnati FC, yes.
Oh, that's right, because they were up 2 goals. They looked like they were cruising to the MLS Cup. And then Columbus came back with the help of an own goal.
Oof.
And then a late 84th minute.
It was so unlucky. There's nothing that he could have
Was
done
it
about
unlucky or was it Miazga-esque? Because that man got himself suspended for the entire playoffs because he decided he had to go confront the officials in their locker room after the New York Red Bull game.
Men are just so emotional.
Yeah, they just can't handle it.
They're just so emotional.
Fragile.
They can't handle professional
Complex
sports.
situations are a bit much. We've been saying this for a long time, and yet they continue to try. It's cute. The other game yesterday was the MLS Western Conference Soccer Championship.
Soccer.
I think the highlight of this was potentially Carlos Vela versus Hector Herrera. Hector Herrera. Both from Mexican national team. Probably 2 of the best players of a generation in Mexico. Unfortunately, the game was kind of, in my opinion, a dud, mostly because Will Ferrell was not
Will Ferrell
on camera.
wasn't there.
Yeah.
Where was Will? I only want to watch because I want to see Will.
Yeah, it would have improved what was just kind of a sloppy, boring game. But hey, LA versus Columbus, the matchup MLS dreamed of this year. I can't think of any other team or player they could have possibly wanted in the playoffs this year. They were like, we want to be in Columbus.
In the stars. Written in the
The
stars.
center of the soccer world, Columbus. The center of the U.S. soccer world, Columbus, Ohio.
Everything was leading up to this match.
I don't see it all come together perfectly. I don't see. And maybe that's why they've decided to support it and promote it in such weird ways by like not doing so.
Well, they don't have
Or
to.
having guests.
It promotes
It
itself.
promotes itself. That's right. People from around the world.
Everyone's talking about it.
Well, I want to see what Hollingshead does for LA against Acosta. It's going to be great. Well, so we have the final next week. We will talk about that. It's hard to watch those games sometimes, especially on a Saturday when you've seen players such as Martin Odegaard. It's like you didn't watch the game, but Arsenal were wearing their socks that had like lightning bolts down the side.
Oh,
like
yeah.
And then you see Odegaard and you're like, oh, man, this is like, it's like Thor. We're watching some new Marvel movie. And they played like it. Arsenal in the first half against the Los Angeles Wolves, better known as Wolverhampton Wanderers, were just unstoppable. Arteta has this team firing on all cylinders, and that is scary for City, who doesn't look like they're going to do it this year.
Did you know that this is today versus Tottenham was City's 3rd draw in a row, and they haven't done that since Pep's first year coaching at City. So, no.
They just need to up their player budget.
Yeah.
I don't think they're spending enough on players.
No, they're not spending nearly enough on players.
Well, if all things were fair, they would be deducted 250 points and already be relegated.
Maybe morale's just down.
But what about this team? We're looking at a team from the championship named Leeds United, who won again this weekend, 3-2 against Middlesbrough.
They're on a roll. They are on a
Oh, yeah.
roll.
4 wins, 1
Major
draw the last
roll,
5.
not broadcasted on television.
We've heard all about it from Carrier Pigeon. And
I get an owl drops a newspaper at my door every morning, and I get to read the scores.
And you get to see little action play out on magical screens.
The highlights are just still images that are enchanted to move. Yeah, little magical gifts.
Well, congratulations to you, because Leeds United is one of the unofficial or official teams supported by us.
Hey, you'll be interested to know that
Yes.
Yesterday, Patrick Bamford revealed a new hairdo. And
Thank God. Is it?
I think
Is it more feathered? Did he up the feather?
I think it's really cool. It's
For those of you who don't know, Patrick Bamford is a 1980s sitcom star who now plays for Leeds United. He was on shows such as Bammin' with Bamford, Bamford and Friends, and I'm Not Your Mama with Bamford, right?
Murder She Bamford.
Murder She Bamford. That's right. And then the light S.I. Bamford.
S.I. Bamford?
What were those? Oh, it's like no, Law and Order Bamford. Sorry, Law and Order Bamford.
Special Bamford suit.
SVU, Bamford SVU is really my favorite.
Okay.
But anyway, in his twilight, he's played for Leeds.
Yeah.
Describe this haircut.
So yeah, like you said, he used to have the 80s feather a la Jessica Fletcher, and now it's very short and very like tight on his head, and he bleached it blonde, but it's shiny. It's not a bad bleach. I think it looks very nice because he has a little bit of a dark beard, and I think he looks serious.
Well,
I think cutting the hair, changing it is gonna
focused.
reduce whatever curse his hair was holding.
Well, I'm worried. I get a little worried because all of these male soccer players are so worried with the hair all the time. And I'm like, they should focus on the game. They're never really going to progress.
But he wasn't focusing on his hair, and you criticized him for it.
It's not all about look. I know, but it's like I see them about to come on, and it's like, okay, I get it. You got your hair done today. There's a game to be played. Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
You also spend a lot of time talking about his old haircut.
That's true. I do objectify the Bam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
he's
it's
quite
good.
a specimen.
I think that he cut whatever curse his hair was holding is now gone out of his head. He's bleached it. He's cleansed it.
Well, he's just one of the reasons that we have a giant Leeds banner in the halls of the Footy Museum alongside a local regional traveling middle school team, the Chicago Fire, which is also a TV show. So it's right after a Bamford
It's really hard
SVU.
to Google Chicago Fire because the show
Isn't
always
that
comes
great?
up.
It's so great. Well, it's a middle school team. You can't do it.
Oh, okay.
And I would like to suggest that we add a new banner to the hallowed halls of the Footy, that we welcome a new team, specifically so I can follow a potentially winning team. And this team is the only undefeated team left in a major European league. They are blowing through Europa League competition. They have very well-known U.S. national players on their team. Can you guess the team?
Is it?
Oh, and they're from the motherland.
Oh,
Yes.
was not Ajax.
No, not Ajax.
Who is it?
PSV Eindhoven.
PSV Eindhoven.
PSV Eindhoven.
Eindhoven.
Yes. Home to such American greats as Ricardo Pepi, who scored a come from behind winning goal against Marseille in the Europa League this past week. And also Serginho Dest, known of his anger at Trinidad and Tobago, just everything about it. He just
Men are
hates
so
it.
emotional.
Men are too emotional.
They're too
for
emotional
sport.
for the grueling world of
Well,
professional sports.
I know it's not popular to say, but I think it's just a fact. Men are made a certain way, and they're made to deal with certain things, and they can't handle the stress of a professional sport like this.
I think we should question their.
Well, also, I wonder, like, what is a sport like this? What is it doing to their bodies? Like, so how are they going to raise a family?
I don't
they could be
know.
doing damage. Is that
and
right?
concussions. That's not good for a family either.
No. It's and they don't really want to be there.
They're not used to working so hard.
No. How are they going to get married?
That's why they don't, and that's why they're sad.
Hell is real. Hell is real.
Because that's really the only thing that fulfills them.
Oh, well, that's kind of a quick recap of what's going on this week. If you want to hear our list of the top new crest designs of the year and the worst crest designs of the year, look for a pod coming out later this week where we just started this new format where, because the demand is so high, we get the banter out of the way in a little quick dose. You can have like a short little pod on your drive to work Monday morning, and then we do our design and interviews and our design deep dives and interviews in longer form later in the week. So
what were we deciding to call this segment?
Uninformed and unrequested? Was that what it was? Or
Unsolicited?
Unsolicited and uninformed. This has been the Footy Museum's Unsolicited and Uninformed, a weekly recap of all things football.